Hey everyone, today we are taking a look at a 1989 Ferrari Testarossa. Countless gearheads growing up in the 80s had a poster of this car on their bedroom wall, and I've got the keys, so let's take a look at this iconic supercar. The Testarossa was Ferrari's follow-up to the Berlinetta Boxster, and with it Ferrari entered into a new decade of the supercar. Moving away from the soft curves of the late 60s and 70s, Ferrari now had to compete with the striking design of the Lamborghini Countach, featuring its sharp lines and its radical wedge shape. What came out of this effort was an iconic design that immediately gives off an energy of "this guy f***s." This car wasn't built to set fast lap times, win races, or anything of the sort in the classic Ferrari ethos. No, this car was built to look good pulling up to a restaurant or a nightclub, to make teenagers drool over the look of it with dreams of ever getting to see one or drive one, and instantly turn you into a rock star whenever anyone saw you driving it. It's this distinction that separates modern day supercars from performance cars of the past, where image became 90% of the selling point, and the Testarossa does this incredibly well. The Testarossa got its name from the original racing Testarossas of the 50s and 60s, but this is an entirely different breed of car. The original Testarossas were built as endurance race cars for the factory and gentleman drivers who wanted high power and sleek aerodynamics for being the best on the track, whereas this Testarossa never saw official track time. This is a car that seems to be more in its element being driven by a lead singer of a hair metal band down Sunset Boulevard or a Playboy bachelor on Ocean Drive in South Beach, Miami than it was on a racetrack. The Testarossa was designed by Pininfarina and is powered by a 4.9-liter flat 12 engine which produces 385 horsepower. The car is most famously known for its side strakes covering the side air intakes for its twin side radiators, which were implemented due to several countries outlawing large openings on cars at the time. These were met with mixed reviews when the car first launched, but now they have become the most iconic and recognizable feature of the Testarossa's design. So now let's get inside and check out the interior. To get inside, there is a small flap you pull underneath the top part of the side strakes that opens the door. The door gives you plenty of room to slide into the car like normal, and doesn't require any back-breaking movements like other supercars from this era. This car features a tan interior and a brown dash that's very reminiscent of its era. The gearbox has a dogleg shift pattern with first on your bottom left and then second up and in the center, down into third, fourth on your top right, and fifth on your bottom right. Pair this with the Testarossa's light clutch and you can make some beautiful shifts in this car. Looking at the gauge cluster, you have a very prominent speedometer maxing out at 200 miles per hour and a tach with a red line at 6,900 RPM, plus temperature and oil pressure gauges. All the way down in the console bridge, you have your fuel gauge and oil temp meter, as well as a Veglia Flash digital clock. Then as you continue to look down the center console, you have your climate controls, your mirror adjusters, your window buttons, your cigarette lighters, and more. An interesting thing about Ferraris from this era is that they have these seatbelts mounted in the center, which you attach to a moving track on the door frame that buckled you in. Here's what the horn sounds like on the Testarossa. In the rear view mirror, you actually get a pretty good amount of visibility since there's no wing blocking your view like a certain other supercar from the same era. From the driver's seat, your pedals are very much offset to the center, so you have to angle yourself to your right in order to operate the car properly. To start her up, it's as easy as pushing in your clutch, putting the key in the ignition on the steering column, make sure you're in neutral, and then turn her over to start her right up. Behind the steering wheel, you have your typical turn signal and wiper stalks, as well as a third stalk on the left just for controlling everyone's favorite, the pop-up headlights. To get out of the Testarossa, it's as simple as pulling on the latch on the door and the opening gives you plenty of room to slide out like normal. Overall, the Testarossa is an icon of its time, and it was fun to get to spend the day with one, especially after checking out a Countach from the same year, to get to see how two big players in the supercar space from the same era compared against each other. The Ferrari is much more comfortable and less brazen than the Countach, which may not mean much to the nostalgic memories of a Gen X teenager, but for actual usability and comfort in today's world, it's without a doubt a nice thing to have.
Hopefully next time we're around we can actually take both these cars out on a road test and see how they compare driving against each other. But until then, let me know what you think of this Ferrari in the comments below. Would you take it over the Countach? If not that, which car would you rather have? As always, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more.